Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Professor Sistrunk, and I thought I'd reach out to you guys today when you start interacting with your course this week. So, we completed the first week. Of course, the first week was about Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. And right now, I'm going to go over some particulars just so you can get in the mood. But starting tomorrow and the next day, you're going to see me rapidly past where you at as far as the coursework. And the reason I'm doing that is because the first week for me is to get everybody into the understanding of what they have to do in this course. So I really don't worry about Chapter 1 and I really don't worry about Chapter 2 because that's the very basic. And I know the majority of you already know about what a computer is, what technology is. But I'm going to cover it for the fun of it to make sure that you really understand it. Excuse me, I need a drink of water. Love water. You should drink some every day. Okay, so Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. Now, the first thing you have to do is look at a video log, or as we like to call it, your discussion question. This week's discussion question is a little bit deep and it's in depth, and I'm hoping that you enjoyed it. But as I walk through this chapter, I'm going to talk about last week's discussion question and this week discussion question, so you can really understand where technology is going. So last week you had to figure out or take a look at or understand, how do I get through my work? How do I set myself up for success? What are the things that I can do in my life that'll make me a better person when it comes to understanding this technology or understanding how to do schoolwork or courses or picking a career? A lot of us look at going to work as just getting a job. I want you to start thinking a little deeper. Think about a career. And you probably already saying, Professor, I already think about a career. Bear with me on this one, okay? So, a job anybody can do. A job you can be replaced for. But when you make a move towards a career, this is something that you took some really in-depth thinking about, and you started to say to yourself, I really want to do something that I'm passionate about doing, something that I can really enjoy doing, and something I can love. Now, don't fall off into that group of individuals where your career defines who you are. No, your career is just a part of your life journey. But you should have a sustainable career, a career that can take care of you. So as we travel through these particular PowerPoints, I'm going to actually talk about things that are important in your journey. You had the opportunity to see technology in the world and how technology is on this massive world stage. You also had an opportunity to look at the different parts technology play in our society. And yes, technology has really taken hold to a lot of things, or about a lot of things that we are going through in life. I mean, you pretty much can't do anything. And you heard me say last week, your refrigerator got computers built in them. They smart machines. If you ever get a chance to go to one of the museums in Chicago, they have a big technology spread where you can go in there and actually walk in a house that I think they still got that exhibit. A house where it's nothing but built on the premise of technology controlling everything in a house. It's beautiful. I mean, from the moment you walk in till the moment you walk out, the house is attentive to you. You as the individual who own that house. So, as you can see, it's everywhere. You can use technology for multiple things. If I want to map out a city, remember I talked about Uber and how Uber came about by somebody simply writing a program that can map out destinations and distance and how much to charge you to go from point A to point Z. As you can see right here, it's really in depth inside of social media. It's an app out that everybody's using, and I like to, poke fun at people for using an app called TikTok. TikTok is an app that a lot of people jump on, but they don't realize that one, TikTok is owned by a company that's out of China. That's one thing. Two, it has so much control over your phone. It has your microphone. It has your camera. It can get data out of your phone where you at. So, but a lot of people own it and they don't realize you may be putting yourself in a crisis situation. Technology is super powerful in healthcare. Now, we just had a healthcare crisis, and a lot of people were going to see the doctor, but they was in their homes, and the doctor was on a Zoom video with them or something like that, and they was using the technology to read their blood pressure and so on and so forth. So technology is deeply in medical. And if you just look at the environment, how we collect data on you on a daily basis. Just think about it. The next time you're in a car and you're going down the street and you see all these cameras, well, these cameras that's out there on the streets, and I'm not talking about literally on the streets, but on the telephone poles that's connected to surveying the individuals who drive, and they collecting a lot of data on me and you and how our driving and our habits are. But we still have places where you can say that technology is not moving so big, and a lot of people like to think that these are countries that are poor countries or less developed countries. But even in America, you witness that there's a big digital divide when you come to technology. It's not because a person don't have money. It's simply because we haven't invested in infrastructure for everybody. And some of the rural areas in America, they don't have the technology that the city folk have, as they say, the city folk. So you got to look at that. So you see that you got video cameras out there, you got solar cells out there, you got so many things that's collecting data that is a part of this scope that I call the technology craze of what we are doing as developing this. And some of you may play a part in the developing phase of a lot of this technology. You see all these different groups here that are engaged in making sure that they can collect data that they need in the world, in this global world that we have here. So now I want you to sit back and I'm going to talk about a few applications that I deem to be dangerous. I just talked about one earlier, which was TikTok, but I'm going to point out a few applications that if you using these particular applications, you should be really careful when it comes to getting yourself out there in the social world or just in the world in general. But I'm going to move on that later. So we just had a pandemic that hit us, and a lot of people saw that we had to lock down. We had to be in our homes. Well, guess what? You had a lot of people that was developing routines where you can work out in the home. Now it's a big craze that just hit our society. Well, now a lot of people are actually working from home because they see that they can use the same tech to work at home. You will see a commercial on TV called The Mirror. When that commercial come on, pay attention to it. This is actually a mirror that you put on your wall that can actually give you routines to do in your own house to work out. One of the biggest companies out there, Pella, where it's a bike company, and I think I'm saying their name right, so correct me if I'm wrong on that. But it's a bike company that sells stationary bikes where you can ride bikes that have computers built on them that where you can log in and be in an actual session with a trainer somewhere across the country. They can be in another state teaching you how to work out. Pay attention to the tech that's out here now. One of the things that you see on TV now is this, they have these commercials where they talking about connecting to tech that can help you meditate, tech that can help you if you got mental problems, you can connect to that particular tech and use that. So it's a lot of things. It's not just music, it's not business, it's in your daily life now. And you had a chance on this lockdown to actually see all of these things. Today, you heard that Walmart open up a store where they don't even have cash registers. You walk in now, you get your products, and you can walk through a screening, and you'll be able to pay for your products without actually having to be in, have a cash register that you have to go through. You're gonna see that happen big time. Remember, Amazon started it when they started opening up their stores without having people to be there to check you out. Now you can just check out yourself. Now Walmart's doing it. You're gonna see that happen, and you see that in many different QR codes. It's gonna be attached to the food labels. The label's gonna be on the food when you actually walking out. So pay attention to the tech that's out here. It's getting deep. We living in a technology revolution. I know some of you gonna say, "Well, Professor, I already knew that." But I remember when I used to go shopping, and when I go purchase, I used to have to stand in this long line to wait on the the person to check me out. And I used to hate that. Then Jewel's store, a store that I used to frequent was Jewel's. They actually came up with the first where you can go to the aisle where you can just check yourself out. And people were scared to do that. Now more people are going to those lines than actually waiting in the line for the cashier. They just go ahead and checking themselves out. You see a lot of different devices out there, bikes, skateboards, and stuff that you can use by swiping your credit card with the new tech that's out and begin to use these different devices. Excuse me. Water good, I'm sorry. But use these different devices. It is amazing now what you can do. Know where that came from. But take a look at the airplanes. They just said now that hotels are developing tech to where you can rent out a hotel or go to a hotel where everything will be on your cell phone. You don't have to touch anything when you go into the hotel. I don't know how that's gonna work. Where you can control everything. Where you can control everything from your cell phone. But I think it's gonna be interesting. This pandemic has changed the tech individuals' mindset on how to interact with our society. It's gonna get deeper. And I'm loving it because I don't like touching things or touching people anyway. Don't touch me. So we talked about the home, we talked about the career. This is the first thing that you was going through in the chapter. I'm just briefly covering over it because you're going to start seeing me starting tomorrow and going forward. Go through all of this. So I'm going to shoot past a few more of these things. But now we're talking about technology literacy. It is becoming super important that one of the things I have you in is learning how to really learn a programming language. Now that's important because programming is becoming essential, a must-have going into this new future, into our future, because those of us who know how to program can actually write applications. It will get to a point where you be able to write applications or do things that will assist you in your daily life. You don't have to worry about some particular programmer who's working for a big tech company where they do things. People don't believe that you as an individual or your children will be writing programs on a daily basis to interact with our world. That's where we're going. But most importantly, we need programmers to consistently develop this world. So that's why you in a class or learning something about programming to see if you have that programming skill and you're not afraid to challenge yourself and learn these different languages. Some of you are moving out. You went in there and you just totally wiped out the first module like it was nothing. But you learning this Java programming. And that's what you're going to see a lot of. Computer literacy is becoming one of the key essentials in the workforce. You have to be up to par with your skills. Even in the application round, you need the most important thing out there. Of course, if you're gonna work in any work environment, you're gonna need to know how to use a spreadsheet. You're gonna need to know how to use a Word doc. Whether it's Google or Microsoft, you need to know how to use it. So that's essentially important. As you can see on my screen right here, you can see that avoiding hackers and viruses, protecting your privacy, understanding risks. You're going to see me talk a lot about things that will help you protect yourself and protect your system. These are critically important when you in this new world. People can take your information now. Remember, you're going to see videos where different organizations were hacked that I'm going to present you to. Like this new video that you're about to go through. You're about to see people in China. They're not in big corporations, big business, but they building the technology for the future. And the question that I asked you was, are you prepared for this new future? Can you handle it? So you're going to see Shenzhen and you're going to see what's going on over there. Now that video was produced, I think, 3 or 4 years ago. So you can imagine the revolutionary stuff that they're doing over there. But are we prepared? Are we sitting here looking at our Netflix or watching? I know people gonna say, don't talk about my Netflix. But seriously, are you devoting your time to skilling yourself up? Or you're letting somebody from a foreign country skill themselves up, and then you have to give your job up to them? Let's not be that person. But pay attention to the video. Don't just go through it. Really get the concept and the understanding of what's going on in that video. So, closing out this particular session, and I want to make sure that you really get a real deep dive in. You know that we consistently doing data mining on every individual on this planet, and that's a deep concept. In my regular classes, I always tell this story of how these programmers and scientists have come together to pretty much pull the data that's out there about us. You have to be careful about what you're doing on your cell phone, what you're doing on your laptop. Are you securing your devices? Because it's important that you make sure you look out for yourself. As you can see on my screen, you can see that even in art now, you can take a picture of something, go home and reproduce it, and it looks just as real as the Mona Lisa that you took the picture of. It is incredible what individuals can do with technology that's out there. Now, think about this. This is a true story. I have professors who I used to always talk about, hey, why aren't you teaching online classes? And they were so against the online platform. I know for me, I'm not the best prolific speaker. I know that getting online is nervous and scared, and there's a lot of professors that don't want to do this because they don't see it as a way of teaching. But 10 years ago, I accepted this platform and I started teaching on this platform to where I teach the majority of my classes online by presenting videos. I don't care if you're going to laugh at me, have a chuckle, have at it. But I wanted to make sure that my students were able to do their work and also interact with me as a professor anytime. Sometimes you have to listen to the videos over. But I had professors who didn't want to do this. Well, we had a pandemic, and it was something that it was horrifying because the last time I looked at the news, they said 400,000 people lost their lives in this pandemic. And it's still out there, and it's still ravishing people. So we had to move to an online platform. But the students who fully embraced it, this new way of learning and new way of knowledge, they really ate it up. they really engaged in it. And that's what you doing. You learning that I don't have to show up to a building to get my knowledge. I can go right online with the right professor who teaching the right courses or doing the right lectures and still get my knowledge. And I can be at home in my jammies. So now everybody is seeing that, this thing that they call online learning, it really works. Now, some students, they don't like it, but for the most part, this is the future learning. Either you're going to grab hold to it or you're going to be left behind. This is the future learning, and nothing can stop it. Even when they open back up, you're going to see more students who had an opportunity to be in these online courses going towards this way, and that's what it is. I mean, you got doctors. You see commercials where doctors talking about we're working in teams, and I'm able to show a person's brain, a person's heart. This is the real world now, people. You got to grab hold on it. And with this new technology, you can move ahead. Now, think about it. Microsoft, Google, and all of them talking about that AI technology that can be connected to cameras that can actually see a person and give them a readout if that's a bad actor or not. Now, for African Americans, it's not working, so that's the fight about you selling technology that can be against a group of individuals. You need to rethink that program. So pay attention to the commercials and the news out there that's talking about this new technology like AI. You'll see me actually present it. I'm not going to talk about medicines because this hasn't developed with the nanobites and all that type of stuff that's going to be going in your body. And I don't want to scare you away, but it's coming to a theater near you. And that's just simply taking some appeal, and it can go inside your body and see everything in your body and see some of the bad things that's with your body. Maybe you got a heart condition or something like that, and these nanobites can actually fix the problem because they've been programmed to actually fix it. We haven't got there yet. It's still in experimental phases, but they're working on it, and it's coming to you. And I talked about the psychology of things, about how now you don't have to leave your home to connect with your psychologist. Just imagine you had to get in the car, go drive to the psychologist's office, sit outside inside one of the waiting rooms, and then go in there and see the psychologist. Well, a lot of people didn't go see psychologists because they felt that they didn't want their personal business to be out there. Now you can get in a Zoom meeting or a GoTo meeting or whichever one of them tools you use, and you can actually sit there and talk to your doctor. But it's a lot of ethics. Did I say that right? Ethics. Thank you. Ethics involved in this. Are you a bad actor? Are you using these technologies or these new tools to hurt people? Or are you using it to help people? So you have to make sure that you are using this technology in an ethical manner. And you're going to see a lot of it come out. You're going to see a lot of legal issues that's coming out about the different types of ways that people use this technology to do unethical things. So pay attention to that. Like using Siri to listen to your conversations at home. But you know what? I don't even put Siri down because that's something you go out and buy and you put in your home. I know people that use that different app that I talked about earlier. I don't want to keep saying the name and putting it down, but but people use that app and they don't realize that anybody can be listening to it, because you video recording yourself and you acting a little fool, and anybody can be listening to what you're saying and doing. So pay attention to that type of stuff. Make sure you're doing the right things when you use your technology. Hopefully you will. Who knows? I'm going to shoot through a few of these slides because it's talking about ethical. But one of the things I want you to pay attention to in this next this next discussion question is that an individual going to talk about intellectual property. Now, you develop something, you want to make money off of it, but now people decided, no, you shouldn't have the right to make that money, so they steal your tech and your knowledge or your technology that you build, and then they reverse it, re-engineer it, and use it for what they want to do. And they say, oh, you shouldn't have the right to do that. That's wrong. So listen to the individual in that Shenzhen video, and he may make it seem like it's wrong to do this and it's not right, but no, you can't do that. There are international laws that say you shouldn't do that, and people should have the right to profit off the tech that they build. That's what the society is about. Not, I'm gonna build something that anybody can take my stuff. No, all that sharing is cool, but I'm on the side that if you build it, you should be able to profit off of it. Not at the dismay of hundreds of thousands of people, but that's a deeper conversation that we'll have going down the road. Okay, so this is kind of getting to become a long video, but I need you to start watching through these videos, because the next one that comes out will be about the next 2 chapters, and it will be getting us set up for the next thing. So chapter 2, the most important thing about chapter 2, you know about input output devices. That I don't have to talk about. You know that a computer is built on the premise of a processor processing information, and then input goes into the computer, it goes out. But the only thing that, and you know already the different devices out there that we use for a computer. Your cell phone is one of the most powerful computers that's around, and you carrying it in your pocket. Can you imagine that? But the key that I want you to take away in this course, when we as tech people think of a computer, we only think about 3 main things. Maybe a 4th, but most importantly 3. You think about the processor. The faster the processor, the better the processor. We think about the storage, the hard drive they call it, but we call it the storage. The more storage you got in there, the better it is. And we think about the memory. Okay, so processor, storage, and memory. And all you have to remember, the more memory speed you have, the faster the process and the more you can store, makes a really, really dynamic computer. Now the 4th thing is, of course, the NIC card or the network card or the wireless card. But when you think of computer, think of those 4 things, but the 3 important things is the ones I just spoke on. Okay, so in this video log, it was kind of long, but this is Professor Sistrunk. Get prepared for my next video, and I'm gonna put in here that we having a meeting next Monday at 6 p.m. It's gonna be our first Zoom meeting, and I'm getting you ready for your midterm test. Okay, so I'm gonna put that in the description in the actual email that I sent out. But get ready, people, for that first meeting, and continue to do what you're doing. Most of you have knocked this class out the park. You don't have a problem with it. Once again, this is Professor Sistrunk. Enjoy your day.